Have you ever wondered why the same kind of pain keeps returning, even when you change places, jobs, and relationships? Have you ever felt like life is giving you the same test in a new outfit and you cannot figure out why? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about karma and reincarnation in a way that feels useful for real life. Not as a scary threatened, not as a fantasy story. We will treat it like a map for inner growth and a mirror for the patterns we keep repeating. The two main points we will keep coming back to are simple. Karma is not a cosmic revenge system. Karma is cause and effect woven through intention, action, and habit. Reincarnation is not just about what happens after death. It is also a way to understand continuity of consciousness and why inner tendencies can feel older than your current story. Now let us start like a conversation at night when the world is quiet and the mind finally speaks honestly. Imagine you are sitting alone after a long day. The room is still. You should be resting, but your mind is replaying something that happened years ago. A betrayal, a regret, a moment you wish you could redo. You might even have a good life now on paper. Yet the same emotional knot appears again and again. You ask yourself, why am I still carrying this? Why does this keep returning? Why does life feel like it is pushing the same wound with different fingers? This is the doorway where karma becomes real, because karma is not an abstract belief. Karma is the way your inner world shakes your outer world through the choices you repeat. The word karma often gets reduced to a simple slogan like what goes around comes around. But that is too small. Karma is the momentum of your mind. It is the habit of your heart. It is the groove your attention falls into when you are tired. It is the reflex you follow before you even think. If you want to understand karma, you start by noticing the most honest thing about being human. We do not only do things, we become the kind of person who does those things again. Every choice strengthens a tendency. Every tendency shapes perception. Perception shapes reaction. Reaction creates consequence. Consequence becomes the next environment you live in. Then you call it fate. So a big part of karma is not what happens to you. A big part of karma is what you keep doing inside you. Now let me tell you a story that makes this tangible. There was a person I will call Aaron. Armand kept saying that life was unfair. Every time Aaron got close to someone, the relationship became complicated. Every time Aaron started something new, there would be a conflict. Aaron felt cursed. Aaron said, "I do not know what I did to deserve this." But if you watched Aaron closely, you would see a pattern. Aaron feared abandonment. That fear lived in the body like a constant background alarm. When someone did not reply quickly, Aaron panicked. When someone seemed distant, Aaron became controlling. When Aaron felt uncertain, Aaron tried to force certainty by demanding reassurance. People felt pressured and pulled away. Aaron felt abandoned and became even more demanding. The cycle repeated. Aaron called it bad luck, but it was karma, not punishment. Momentum. The cause was fear and control. The effect was relationship instability. The cycle kept returning until Aaron became conscious enough to see it. That is the first spiritual lesson. Karma is not here to crush you. Karma is here to teach you. The universe does not need to hate you for your patterns to hurt you. Patterns hurt on their own because they create predictable consequences. Now people often ask a different question. If karma is cause and effect, then why do good people suffer? Why do kind people face loss? Why do honest people get betrayed? This is where we have to be humble. Cause and effect is vast. Not every cause is visible. Not every effect is immediate. Life is made of many streams flowing at once. Your personal choices matter. Other people's choices matter. Family systems matter. Society matters. nature matters, timing matters. So karma is not a simple calculator. It is more like a field. You plant seeds and the field responds. But the field also has weather and seasons and soil conditions and other people planting seeds nearby. That is why a wise view of karma does not turn into judgment. It turns into responsibility. Instead of asking why is life unfair to me, you start asking, what is the next right cause I can plant? What is the seed of wisdom I can plant today, even if I cannot control the whole harvest? Now we come to reincarnation. Some people love the idea because it feels comforting. Some people fear it because they imagine endless cycles. Some people reject it because they think it is superstition. Whatever you feel about it, let us approach it as a question about continuity. The simplest version is this: if consciousness is more than the body, then it may continue beyond the body. If it continues, then tendencies may continue too, not as a fixed identity but as impressions, like grooves in awareness, like habits of mind, like deep preferences and fears that do not start with your current biography. Now you do not need to force yourself to believe anything to benefit from this view, because even within one lifetime you can see a kind of reincarnation happening every day. You wake up as yesterday version of you if you repeat yesterday thoughts. You wake up as a new version of you if you practice a new response. In that sense, reincarnation is not only after death. It is the rebirth of the self moment by moment. If you keep replaying anger, you are reborn as anger again and again. If you keep practicing compassion, you are reborn as compassion again and again. If you keep feeding fear, you are reborn as fear again and again. This is not poetry. This is psychology and spirituality meeting in the middle. Now let us bring this into a Q&A style, like the kind of questions people ask when they are both curious and hurted. Someone asks, if karma is real, why do I see people who harm others living comfortably? Wise answer is that you are seeing only the outside. You do not see their inner state. You do not see the anxiety behind the smile. You do not see the emptiness behind the status. You do not see the fear behind the control. Many people who harm others are not at peace. They are running from themselves. Also, you do not see the long timeline. Some consequences are delayed. Some seeds take time. And sometimes the lesson is not about them at all. Sometimes the lesson is about you not poisoning your heart with comparison. Because comparison is a hidden form of suffering. You look at someone else and you start bargaining with the universe. You say, I am good, so I deserve good now. But life does not work like a vending machine. Goodness is not a transaction. Goodness is a state of being. When you live ethically, you are already receiving the first reward: a cleaner mind, a lighter conscience, a more stable nervous system, a deeper capacity to love without fear. That does not erase pain, but it changes how pain moves through you. Another person asks, if reincarnation is real, will I remember my past life? Maybe yes, maybe no. But here is the practical point. Even if you remembered every detail, it would not automatically make you wise. Wisdom is not memory. Wisdom is how you respond now. Many people remember their own childhood clearly and still repeat the same mistakes. So the spiritual goal is not collecting stories. The spiritual goal is transforming tendencies. Another person asks, can I change my karma? Yes. This is the most hopeful part. Karma is not a prison sentence. Karma is a pattern. Patterns can be changed through awareness, practice, and discipline. How do you change karma? You change the cause. You change karma by changing intention. You change karma by changing speech. You change karma by changing action. You change karma by changing habit. You change karma by changing what you feed in your mind. If your mind feeds resentment every day, your karma becomes heavy. If your mind feeds gratitude and responsibility, your karma becomes lighter. Not because the universe is rewarding you like a judge, because your nervous system becomes steadier and your choices become cleaner and your relationships become healthier. Now let us go deeper into the mechanism, because this is where real transformation happens. Most people think karma is outside them, like an invisible scorekeeper. But karma is largely inside you. Take a simple example. If you speak harshly to people, you create fear around you. People become guarded. They do not share truth. They hide. They distance. Then you feel lonely and misunderstood. Then you become more harsh because you feel isolated. That is karma. You created the atmosphere and then you suffer inside it. Or take another example. If you avoid responsibility, you create short-term comfort. You skip the hard conversation. You delay the work. You pretend things will fix themselves. Then consequences stack. Deadlines crash. Trust breaks. Stress rises. That is karma, not punishment. Cause and effect. Now, here is the key spiritual move. Stop trying to control the whole future. Start controlling the present cause. This is where Dharma comes in. Dharma means right action aligned with truth. When you act from Dharma, you stop negotiating with fear. You do what is right because it is right. You speak truth because truth is clean. You keep your promises because integrity is peace. When you live like that, you are not only creating better outcomes, you are refining your consciousness. That is spiritual growth. Now let us talk about the part many people do not want to hear. Sometimes your suffering is not coming from other people's karma. It is coming from your attachment. Attachment is not love. Attachment is clinging. Clinging says, I need this person to behave a certain way for me to be okay. Clinging says, I need this outcome now, or I cannot breathe. Clinging says, I will sacrifice my dignity to avoid loss. Attachment creates suffering because it hands your inner peace to external conditions. So part of changing karma is practicing non-attachment. Non-attachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you care without clinging. You love without control. You act without obsession. That is why meditation is so powerful. Meditation trains you to watch thoughts without obeying them. It trains you to notice craving without turning it into action. It trains you to notice fear without letting fear drive the car. When you practice meditation consistently, you start seeing your karma as it forms. You see the urge before the action. You see the thought before the word. You see the reaction before the explosion. That gap is where freedom lies. Now let me tell a story about this gap. There was a woman I will call Lena. Lena had a temper, not because she was evil, because she was overwhelmed. Her nervous system was always tight. When someone disagreed with her, she felt attacked. Her body went into fight mode. She would raise her voice. She would say cutting things. Later, she would regret it. She would apologize. She would promise to change. Then the next trigger came and the same pattern returned. Lena said, I cannot change. This is just me. That sentence is a karmic trap. It turns habit into identity. Then Lena began a simple daily practice. 10 minutes of breath meditation. Not for magic, for awareness. She sat and watched the mind. She watched irritation arise. She watched thoughts like they do not respect me. She watched the body tighten. She learned to breathe through it. After a few weeks, something changed. Not perfection, but a pause. The pause between trigger and reaction became longer. One day, a coworker criticized her. She felt the heat rise. She felt the old impulse to snap. Then she remembered her breath. She inhaled slowly. She exhaled slowly. She said, "I hear you. Let me think." That moment was a karmic turning point, because karma is built from moments, not from grand declarations. Over time, Lena became calmer. People trusted her more. Conflicts decreased. Her own body felt safer. That was karma changing. Now let us connect karma and reincarnation in a way that is less abstract. If deep tendencies can carry forward, then the most precious thing you can do is refine your tendencies now. Because you do not only pass money or genes, you pass mental patterns. Even within one lifetime, you pass them to your relationships and your children and your community. When you heal anger, you do not only heal yourself, you heal the field around you. When you heal fear, you do not only heal yourself, you stop spreading fear into others. When you practice compassion, you create a safer world for everyone near you. This is why compassion is not just a moral idea. Compassion is a karmic technology. Compassion changes the chain of cause and effect. Now a person might ask, what about destiny? If karma is real, do I have free will? Here is a grounded way to see it. Your past creates tendencies and conditions. That is karma. Your present choice creates direction. That is free will. Destiny is the meeting point. You may not choose the first thought that appears, but you can choose the second thought. You can choose the response. You can choose the action you take after the impulse rises. This is why spiritual practice matters. Practice increases choice. Without practice, you live like a leaf in wind. With practice, you live like a sailor with a compass. The wind still exists, but you can steer. Now I want to bring in a very real everyday example, because viewers often say they understand karma in theory but not in daily decisions. Imagine you are about to send a message in anger. Your fingers are ready, your chest is tight, your mind is full of justification. You want to win. In that moment, you are standing at a karmic doorway. If you send the message, you plant a seed. That seed grows into conflict and regret. Maybe the relationship breaks. Maybe it becomes toxic. Maybe you carry guilt. If you pause, you plant a different seed. The seed is restraint. The seed is dignity. The seed is clarity. Which seed leads to peace? Karma is that simple and that hard. Now let us talk about another common confusion. People think karma means you must accept mistreatment because it is your lesson. No, wisdom is not passivity. Wisdom is right action. If someone is harming you repeatedly, it is not spiritual to stay and call it karma. It can be spiritual to set boundaries. It can be spiritual to leave. It can be spiritual to protect your mind and body. The lesson might be learning self-respect. The lesson might be learning discernment. The lesson might be learning that compassion does not require self-abandonment. That is also karma, because what you tolerate becomes your environment. Now let us go deeper into the theme of relationships, because many people experience karma as repeating love patterns. You keep choosing unavailable partners. You keep attracting controlling partners. You keep feeling abandoned. You keep becoming the rescuer. You keep becoming the one who gives too much. What is the karmic lesson? Often the lesson is not finding the perfect person. Often the lesson is healing the part of you that confuses anxiety with love. Some people were raised in emotional unpredictability, so calm love feels unfamiliar. They chase intensity. Intensity hurts. Then they call it fate. But it is conditioning. So the karmic work is to retrain the nervous system, to learn what safety feels like, to learn what steady love looks like, to learn boundaries, to learn self-worth. This is inner cultivation. This is self-mastery. This is awakening. Now let us talk about suffering, because karma discussions often become cold if we do not hold compassion. Suffering is real. Loss is real. Grief is real. Pain is not always a result of personal mistakes. Sometimes pain is simply the cost of being alive in a changing world. So what does karma offer in suffering? It offers meaning without blame. It says you are not powerless. You can still plant wise causes even in sorrow. It says even when you cannot change what happened, you can change what it turns you into. Will pain turn you into bitterness or wisdom? That is karma too. Will loss turn you into hatred or compassion? That is karma too. Will betrayal turn you into cynicism or discernment? That is karma too. Now we come to a very important spiritual point that many teachers emphasize. The fastest way to lighten karma is to serve. Service breaks the prison of self-obsession. When you suffer, you naturally turn inward. Your mind circles your own pain. Service expands the circle. It reminds you that you are part of a larger life. It creates humility. It creates connection. It creates meaning. This does not erase your pain, but it changes the texture of it. It prevents pain from becoming identity. Now let us move toward a closing reflection that feels like sitting together after hearing all this. If you feel stuck in repeating cycles, karma is not a sentence. Karma is a signal. The signal says there is a lesson here. Look with honesty, not to shame yourself, to free yourself. Ask yourself what pattern keeps repeating. Ask yourself what you keep tolerating. Ask yourself what you keep feeding in your mind. Ask yourself where you keep reacting instead of responding. Then choose one small practice. One small practice could be a daily meditation of 10 minutes. One small practice could be speaking more truthfully. One small practice could be stopping one destructive habit. One small practice could be forgiving yourself and choosing a cleaner action today. One small practice could be a boundary with someone who drains you. One small practice could be service to someone in need. Small practices change destiny because they change cause. Now I want to share a personal style story of resonance, because many viewers tell me they feel alone in their karmic loops. I have seen people who were wrapped in the same argument for years, with different partners, different friends, different bosses. They thought life was against them. But when they finally paused and looked honestly, they saw the same trigger, the same fear, the same need to be right, the same avoidance of vulnerability, the same habit of people-pleasing, the same refusal to say no. When they changed that one habit, the whole world changed. Not because the universe suddenly loved them, because their choices created a new environment. Their karma shifted. And I have seen people who experienced deep loss and still became gentle, not weak, gentle. Their compassion became stronger. Their wisdom became deeper. They became a refuge for others. That is the most beautiful form of karma, turning pain into clarity without spreading pain. So if you are carrying something heavy today, remember this: you are not only a product of the past, you are also a creator of the next moment. That is free will. That is spiritual power. That is the path of awakening. Thank you for coming back to the channel and staying with a topic that can feel big but becomes simple when you bring it into daily choices. Now I want to hear from you. What pattern do you feel life keeps showing you again and again? And what is one small cause you are willing to plant this week to change the direction of your karma? Leave a comment with your story. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video if this helped you. And if you want to support the channel more deeply, you can join as a member so we can keep creating long conversations that bring wisdom, compassion, and real practice into everyday life. I will see you in the next one.